Need some help, man.
I need help. Say something.
So what should I say?
Rock. You don't stop.
No, you do the other part. You say rock higher and all that part.
I'm the king of rock.
You do it. I'm the king of rock. There is none
higher.
Sucker MC
Should call me sire.
to burn my
Kingdom.
You must use fire.
I won't stop rocking till Ari.
Don't say tired.
Dun dun. That.
I never in my wildest dreams ever thought hip-hop would be as big and as powerful and magnificent as it is. To me, it was just something that was big in my basement.
The 80s was the period when hip-hop really began to take over. You know, the beginning of the decade, it was still a novelty. By the end of the decade, it was built into the fabric of the music business, and the artists were winning Grammys and selling millions and millions of records.
We're sitting here in my basement.
This is it. This is his basement.
Dee's house.
Dee's house is not mine or Jay's.
Not
Dee's
my house.
Dee's. This is his basement. You know,
As Run DMC, since we got the chance, we want to take rap and make it a part of other music. Like a lot of the singers and stuff, they
think of it as.
think of us kind of, you know, it's from the street. It's not going nowhere. We just want to be able to sit with them at the Grammys. You know, we make rap as music. It's a part of music now.
Everybody's starting to relate with it, you know, and everybody's starting to understand it. So by 5 years from now, we might be like the biggest thing out.
Beat to the rhyme of the rhyme I just made. Party at the jam till lights and nights fade. To me, brother, till we all get paid. Well, let's go. Yo, D, that's me, the king, the MC. Rhyme get mine on the T.O.P. Can another MC ever with me?
Hell no.
It's like
Run DMC was the group that actually made me believe that this could be big. Till Run DMC, I thought this was something that was only going to be done in basements and clubs, and I really was still in the crime at the time. Seen Run DMC, I went to a concert. They had lasers and shit. I'm like, oh man, this is big. Rap was never at that level. We never seen it like that.
I was in high school in 1980, which means Rapper's Delight is on record. You go to folks a year older than me, 2 years older. Oh, that's just noise. It's gonna go out of style 2 years from now. You know, it's gonna be out of here along with hula hoops and pet rocks in a second.
Throw your hands up in the air and party harder like you just don't care. Let's do it.
All the music pundits at the particular time considered rap music as being crap music.
Pretty obnoxious.
Sad commentary on the music system today.
Rap music makes me vomit.
But if you loved it, you couldn't really understand how people could not love it.
Rap on Record was an independent label phenomenon until Curtis Blow and Russell Simmons came onto the scene. Kurt was a rapper, Russ was a party promoter, and he managed to get Kurt the first major label record deal for a rapper. Other artists began to flock to him. Gee, Russell, if you've done this for Curtis, can't you do it for me?
Over a period of time, I managed Phil's for Houdini, Jimmy Spicer, Jekyll and Hyde. There were a lot of them.
Well, rapping's always been around. Well, it's just that. It's big time now.
We built a management company, Rush Productions, and so they were all part of a family. The main platform for everything was Rush.
Russell is a star in this little world of rap. And then by 1982, his brother has formed a rap group.
D, he had 2 mismatched turntables and a Gemini mixer. We would get high first and then go running, laughing our ass off down to his basement high to DJ and eat up all his peanut butter and jelly. So that was our life story. Get high and rap.
Hottest queen.
Hottest crew in the house, strictly hottest crew.
Hollis Crew gonna rock. I want y'all to know Hollis is live.
They got the breakers and the bumpers.
Hip-hop started in the South Bronx. If it never happened in the Queens, it would have died in the South Bronx. What made hip-hop stay around so long is because people realized to make it good, you had to sing about your own neighborhood.
Light skin from Hollis, Queens, and I love eating franks and pork and beef. I dress to kill. I love the style. I'm an MC, you know who's worth your while.
Run DMC said, "We're from Queens," you know, and it was fresh.
I'm a credit card. I go uptown, come back home with food, feed myself with my microphone.
Hollis, Queens, New York. It's a little lower middle class suburb outside of the big city. There's green grass, trees, nice people.
Closely knit.
We all still live with our parents. Everything's still cool. When it's time to move out, I guess we'll move, but until then, I don't think I'll be moving. What about you, man?
I ain't going nowhere.
What about you, Jay?
I'm comfortable.
I love this place.
This is cool.
Run DMC and Jam Master Jay in Hollis, Queens is where we stay.
The early rappers tried to dress like rock stars. And they were the guys that said, we're gonna bring spikes into the game. And they wore lots of leathers. Run DMC brought out the hats and the leather blazers. I mean, that was a street hustler look in Queens, you know?
Stetson hats.
Stetson.
When Run DMC came out with that attitude, that confidence, that style, the shell-toe Adidas with no strings.
No laces, it's comfortable.
They didn't just represent Queens anymore, they represented hip-hop.
We make the black girls scream and ecstasy. Rock these rhymes at a party. We put all the fellas in our days. It's everyone that we are made.
Russell was like, that hat Jay has on, we'll all wear that. Whoever was the coolest looking dude, if Russell sees it, there it is, their outfits are made. What Jay got on? Okay.
And to the sucker MCs who did not learn, if you don't this time, we shall return.
Russell would have loved to have made a deal with a black executive at a record label at that time, but the black execs he was talking to were into much more polished R&B. And they would hear this new rap music and didn't want any part of it.
Most of the black music people at the major labels then and would, for most of the next 5 or 6 years, be very resistant to hip-hop. Definitely they weren't really interested in young black people making music from the ghetto.
And that's the way it is.
And the thing about Russell is he will not be stopped. So if he finds these doors closed, he's just going to go to yet another door. And behind one of those doors was some young Jewish entrepreneurs. And it was Corey Robbins and Steve Plotnick. He had a little label called Profile. And Profile decided they would give Run DMC a shot.
For our first album, Run DMC was very, very important.
Two MCs who are claiming the fame, and all other things won't be the same.
Way better than Rapper's Delight. It's that raw shit that you knew about, but nobody was making it.
A vocal and a drum beat. Go cat, go cat, go cat, go cat.
It's about time for a brand new group. Run DMC to put you up on the scoop.
Every hood, every ghetto, that record played like crazy.
It's fresh. It's good. It's bad. It's nice. I love their music and I like the way they act.
You didn't want to be caught at a block party not knowing the words to a Run DMC song because everyone else was going to know it.
Jam Master Jay is the one in charge. It's up to him to rock beats that are truly large.
It's bigger, so big.
Jam Master Jay, Run DMC.
Look, if you're already scaring people, this is really gonna scare some people and make a statement. We're rough, we're tough, we're mean, so back the hell up.
Run DMC wants the recording industry to take notice. They are at the front door, and they want in.
Hey, this is a rock and roll museum. You guys don't belong in here.
Up through the mid-'80s, MTV was like the apartheid music channel. If you're white, you're right. If you're black, step back. You know, MTV didn't invent racism in music programming, but they mirrored what was going on in so-called rock radio at that time. The appeal of Run DMC is that they had more of a recognizable rock style.
We didn't want to rap over no corny bass lines, and definitely wasn't Saturday Night Fever. But the rock records had what a James Brown record had. Get up! Energy and loudness and a drum beat. But it had that extra added thing that we needed. A loud rock and roll guitar.
One of the very first records they made was Rockbox in 1984. Rockbox, not Rapbox, Rockbox, okay? And here's a big loud guitar. Makes you think of Led Zeppelin, doesn't it? Okay, good, that's the way you should be thinking. Now, take a look at us. We don't look anything like Robert Plant, do we? Too bad, we're making rock and roll too. And MTV ate it up.
Now we crash through walls, come through floors, bust through ceilings, knock down doors. And when we're on the tape, we're fresh out the box. You can hear our sound, 4 blocks and blocks.
When Run DMC got on MTV, there wasn't anybody black at all but Michael Jackson. You know, and he's Michael Jackson. He's a great guy, but he was not about culture.
Now we're the baddest of the bad, coolest of the
Run DMC represented all the people in the hood who had not been on television, who were not being seen, the way they dressed, the sneakers they wore, the vibe, the rhymes.
Every jam we play, we break 2 needles. There's 3 of us, but we're not the Beatles.
Run DMC was the stamp of approval that this whole entire thing was very much real. Coming from Queens and taking this rap thing much further than anybody else had dared to take it. And they have nothing to stand on but 2 turntables and a microphone.
The reason that Jekyll and Hyde and Run DMC and these other artists were on Profile is that we didn't have a record company. We believed that these artists could mean something. That was Rush Artist Management's mission. But to accomplish the mission, you need a label that respected that. And Def Jam Records was built to give the artists what they needed, the real thing, a real label.
I remember Russell starting Def Jam Records. I probably was on the heels of all the success of Run DMC. They were working out of Rick Rubin's dorm. I remember going over there, seeing the young white dude Russell's hanging with. He always doing some crazy stuff anyway. And they started Def Jam.
I started Def Jam out of my NYU dorm room. Rick put out one little record by an artist named Tila Rock called It's Yours, and it was on the Def Jam label. And Russell heard it, and he was astonished.
Russell and I met at the party for a TV pilot called Graffiti Rock. The reason that Russell and I really hit it off right from the beginning is because he loved hip-hop music for real, and he was really somebody in the record business. I didn't know anybody in the record business. I was just a fan.
Jam means record. Def is short for definitive. Definitely the best record you could buy today.
And Rick, he finds a kindred spirit. It seems strange, like this black-white marriage at that time, but really, they're 2 suburban guys who want to make urban culture.
Now, Rick was a great talent scout, a great producer, and Russell was a superb promoter. And the combination of their talents quickly made Def Jam the predominant rap label of its day.
I'm a soldier at war, making sure you don't try to battle me no more. Got concrete rhymes, been rapping for 10 years, and even when I'm bragging, I'm being sincere.
One of the things that Russ did very much by design was to concentrate on an artist's career and not just the making of one record after another, which is why you've got an artist like LL Cool J who still records for Def Jam, and it's been 20 years.
I was the first artist on Def Jam. Right. And my first single, I Need a Beat, was on Def Jam and sold 100,000 copies. So that was good back then. No, that was 2 years ago. And Def Jam is one happy family. Everybody's together. We're having fun.
Just to give you an idea of kind of how homegrown it was, LL got signed because he's just this ambitious little kid from Queens. He started to make little recordings in his basement from the time he's 12 or 13. And by the time he's 15, 16, he figures he's good to go.
I went to a record store and I got all the rap records. And I took the addresses off the rap records and sent a tape to every record company that was using rap at that time.
I used to spend a lot of time at Rick Rubin's dorm room, and he started getting demo tapes from rappers. And I used to listen to all these tapes, and one tape was LL Cool J's tape. And I was like, yo, you gotta listen to this tape.
You waiting and debating for oh so long, just starving like Marvin for a Cool J song. If you cried or thought a dodgy definitely was wrong, it took a thought plus a broad creator along, thinking up.
People had to hear this kid because he was just so weird. So Rick called LL to basically want to make a record for Def Jam.
My name's LL Cool J and I rock the bell. I got a big present for you. I got a big present for you. You've been waiting and debating for so long, just starving like Marvin for a Cool J song. If you cried or thought a dodgy definitely was wrong, it took a thought plus a broad creator along.
As a hip-hop fan, I would go to hip-hop clubs, and it was very different than the records that were coming out. So the idea of Def Jam really was to make records that just reflected the true hip-hop scene.
They had an idea about what was a true expression of hip-hop culture, and they weren't going to water it down.
This.
Urban music, they love this stuff, all right? Scratching, rapping, loud.
We were not part of the bunch. And every time you heard a sound that was popular, we knew it wasn't our sound.
Well, basically, what was good about Russell was he kept it hip-hop. He didn't let the industry dictate what was going to be done.
I don't think anyone else understood the music. I think we really loved it, and we didn't really care. We just did our thing.
Radio stations will have to play this record. You want to know why? Because if they don't, kids will tear the station apart.
Things really started cooking for Russ and his artists in 1985 and 1986. Not only was Def Jam off to a great start with LL Cool J, but Run DMC was about to create the biggest hit of their career, their third rap-rock hybrid. And it's Walk This Way.
Walk This Way, I went through my whole album collection trying to find a song that Run DMC could do that would point up the relationship between hip-hop and other kinds of music. Walk This Way had a familiar rock sensibility to it, but at the same time, with very little change, would function as a hip-hop song.
Walk This Way by Aerosmith, which we did not know was the name of the record, or we didn't know the name of that band. All we knew was Toys in the Attics. All the DJs would scratch out the name and the title and everything so nobody could look and see, what's that beat?
We were starting to rap over the beat, and Rick said, no, make the whole thing over. Huh? These aren't even rhymes. I don't even know what he's saying. I wanted to rhyme over ist, like back in the day. So we had to go home with the record and study it.
How are we gonna make this record over when we have never even heard what the vocals on it sound like? We heard, this is what me and Run called it, hillbilly gibberish. This is how it sounded to us. Crazy. To this day, there's a couple words wrong, because we didn't know what the hell he said right there. So we got on the phone. Yo, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this. We gonna write some vocals, we coming in and do it. No, y'all gonna learn those lyrics. Me and Run thought, Russell and Rick, you're trying to ruin us.
The whole told me to walk this way. And then the bit said, walk this way.
By the time I say, yo, this is hot, and then they came back, and that's what we hear today.
Now there's a backseat lover that's always undercover, and that's what the people say. I said you ain't seen nothing till you're down on the muffin, and it's sure to be a changing way. The big cheerleader, that's a real big leader of times like a reminisce.
Run DMC's latest album, entitled Raising Hell, has sold more than 1 million copies in just 13 weeks and is expected to break into the top 10 this week, a first for a rap record.
Some radio disc jockey played it, and some love it, some don't love it. But you have a whole new fan base now. You're up to 2 million.
Walk This Way was a turning point for hip-hop. Every hip-hopper, no matter how grungy, wants a little mainstream validation. And even if we kind of hated the fact that Run DMC was up there with Aerosmith, we were so happy to see Run DMC up there with Aerosmith.
Run DMC had so much success. It's pretty unbelievable. They made a very big statement of what hip-hop could be going forward. They opened the doors for everybody.
Who the hell are you?
With the band.
The band, where's your instruments? What the? We only play rock music here.
Why you dissing, man?
We were like these little punk rock kids. We would go into clubs where they play like punk rock and new wave, and then as soon as like hip hop made the transition to record, those records started to play in those same downtown clubs, and we loved it.
It wasn't like a love ballad. It's like talking about something that I really wanted to listen to what they were saying. And the way that they were saying it was so different.
Better watch your backs. The Beastie Boys are coming to your town, homeboy.
Beasties had made an independent record called Cookie Puss, and I'd heard it and really liked it. And we both came from the punk rock world, and that's how we started.
We started performing live and wanting to rhyme live, but we didn't have a DJ, so we needed a DJ. So this friend of ours told us about this guy, Rick Rubin, who had like the PA, drum machines, turntables, mixer, like all of it in his dorm room. So we were like, perfect.
Rock and roll! Yeah, dude, like, I think we're the band.
Beastie Boys. Little brat. Look. They were honest, they broke the rules, and their contribution was to do what was right in their hearts as opposed to what was laid down for them. Didn't hurt that they were white.
Hi, we're the Beastie Boys. No, we're the Beastie Boys, the beasts of rap.
They did some groundbreaking shit.
When Russell first started managing us, we were hanging out with Rick all the time. We went out and bought like brand new Puma suits and had do-rags on. And we went and played this crazy gig. And everybody looks at us and just starts laughing, going, Menudo, Menudo, what's up, Menudo? That right there let us know maybe, the Puma suits weren't the best direction. But, Russell definitely brought the dynamics of visuals all together.
They thought that they had to put on their costumes to be rappers. And they must dress in blackface, and that's what I thought. It was really insulting, but I thought they had talent. So we put them back in their dungarees, put them on the Run DMC tour, and learned a lot about what works.
They went out every night for 64 nights and played before arenas full of black kids. So when they dropped the album, they had a lot of black listeners. And because they made a great record with Rick Rubin, they won.
You gotta fight for your right to party.
When we did songs like Fight for Your Right to Party, in my mind, they were sarcastic songs. I mean, Fight for Your Right to Party, that's a joke title.
But when we went from playing clubs into playing much bigger arenas, like the front row was like all frat boys just like screaming like, "Fight for Your Right to Party!" I remember after a little while just feeling like, what is going on,
You put a record out and you're playing in front of people that you would have, 2 months earlier been running down the street away from.
We're real rock stars.
When License to Ill first came out, it definitely felt like somewhat of a mockery. But because the music was so undeniably perfect, it was like you overlooked that.
Because the Beastie Boys were white, they were able to get quicker acceptance in places where people were resistant to Run DMC. That opened the door really to hip hop in general getting bigger, and Run DMC was able to go further than they had before.
If I might, I'd like to just take this opportunity. I love these guys like brothers. They're like brothers to me. Thank you. It's a beautiful. This is really special.
Run DMC, they were the first group that began to appeal and cross over to a mainstream audience. And when they did that, hip-hop was on its way.
We didn't really even have a blueprint out before us as females in it. But Run DMC, they were like our male counterparts. You know, just to see the two guys up front, just like my girl, Salt and Pepper, and to see Jam Master Jay in the background, like keeping the crowd moving. And we were very open to the opportunity of blowing this whole hip-hop thing up.
In the mid-'80s, you started to see women pick up the mic in a way that they hadn't before. Roxanne Shante and the Real Roxanne, Salt and Pepper. By the end of the decade, Latifah's in there.
It's just certain things you don't understand, baby. Every woman wants to be treated like a lady.
When I was younger, I was like, how else can a young black girl of my age be heard all around the world? I've got to rap.
We're not the two, and I'm not the one. So if you got some thoughts about taking me to bed, kill that and get a $5 crack.
MC Lyte and Latifah, as far as like soloists, incredible. And at that time, it became more eclectic in a sense. It was still hip hop, but it was just like a lot of people, you know, realize that there's different energy and different levels in the culture.
The good old days was back then, and the reason I reminisce cause
Biz Markie was kind of like the clown prince, funny, witty, and then Kane was, you know, lyrically like the best. Everybody has a different element to offer, and it wouldn't be the same without it.
There's other facets and avenues in hip-hop. Everyone is not going to be Big Daddy Kane. Like, everybody cannot be Rakim.
So I don't like to dream about getting paid, so I dig into the books of the rhymes that I made. So now to test to see if I got pulled, hit the studio, cause I'm paid in full.
Eric B. and Rakim, it was like, wow, impeccable.
When that record first came out, that was another moment when the game changed, because everybody was trying to see if they could scream louder than the next person, and they were just yelling and yelling. And that record came out in a completely different tangent, with like him just kind of like speaking over it.
This is my favorite dish, but without no money, it's still a wish.
That's a corner right there.
EP&D is in town, total chaos, no mass confusion.
With hip-hop, I guess during that period, the mid to late 80s, early 90s, there was just all these different worlds.
What became pretty clear by that time is that this culture was too big to be contained by any one label, which is why, really, there were a whole bunch of independent labels that started to bloom, and it wasn't just the stuff that was happening on Def Jam. Big Daddy Kane came out of the Cold Chillin' Posse, and KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions were making their greatest records.
Creativity and intelligence, but they don't care because their company's selling it. It's my philosophy on the industry.
We're going into a more intelligent political type of thing. You have the commercial end and the, I don't know, I don't want to pin myself in any words, but the radical end.
Vegetarian, no goat or ham, or chicken or turkey or hamburger, because to me that's suicide, self-murder. Let us get back to what we call hip-hop.
With that in mind, you know, if you were young and politically minded and liked music as well at that time, you were going to love Public Enemy.
Here it is, bam, and you say, damn, this is a dope jam, but let's define the term called dope. You think it ain't funky now, no, here is a true tale, why the ones that deal, all the ones that fail, yeah, you can move if you wanna move, what groove, it's here like the groove, the problem is this, we gotta fix it.
The members of Public Enemy in their previous lives had been radio disc jockeys, and they worshipped at the altar of Run DMC. But I think probably they felt that Run DMC, as leaders of the pack, just hadn't gone far enough.
Chuck was a DJ, and the song Public Enemy #1 was Chuck's theme song on his show. It was less just dissing, and there was a different kind of thought behind what he was saying.
Mind over matter, mouth in motion, can't defy, cause I'll never be quiet. Let's start this. And hold.
I called Chuck and asked him if he would want to make records at Def Jam, but Chuck felt like he was too old to do hip-hop because it was a young man's game and he was already a grown-up. And I took his number and put it on a Post-it note and stuck it up next to my phone. And I called Chuck every day, probably for 6 months. And then eventually, after months and months, he showed up at the office, him, Hank, Flav, everybody, and said, we're ready to go. The group's called Public Enemy. It's gonna be unlike any hip-hop group you've seen before.
Coming up with the logo in 1986 just happened to speak volumes for the word that Public Enemy stood for. It was a b-boy in the scope. He was wearing the typical b-boy hat and put a scope around it saying that black males are an endangered species and also on target by the way that America wants its people to be.
Coming out with S1Ws, security of the first world, and that was unheard of.
Public Enemy felt that the music as of 1987 was still stuck in a party mode. And they felt times are much too serious for us to be saying, throw your hands in the air like you just don't care.
Yes, the rhythm's a rebel. Without a pause, I'm lowering my level.
Wasn't just the music.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't just the delivery. He was saying something.
I'm a man, no matter what the name. We're all the same pieces in one big chess game. The force of power is in a house.
I wanted to say that as a young black male, I want to scream the same way that Run DMC screams, but I want to say a little bit more things in detail, like, okay, I'm not going to school, but you know, I'm not getting this job that I want right now. I got a degree.
You know, we're trying to fuel the minds of black people to know about themselves, and that's all it is in a nutshell.
Attitude when I'm on fire, juice on a loose electric wire.
Everything about PE scared white people. What they talked about, what they wore. These are young black men yelling, and yelling black people in black is a problem. You put it with lyrical content, attacking both white and black people. It's confrontational.
I remember having the yellow record cover with all those old 98 Cadillacs on the front outside McDonald's or something, guys with guns, and I was like, yeah. But then at the same time, it wasn't cool to be standing as a white kid at a Public Enemy show because he'd start going off on some rants. You'd be like, oh man, I'm gonna get killed.
Public Enemy spoke about things that no one else spoke about, and at first, people did not like it.
It wasn't until they put out the second record in '88, Nation of Millions, that their sales climbed into the Def Jam stratosphere.
I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened and read it. It said they were suckers. They wanted me for their army or whatever. Picture me giving a damn. I said never. Here's a land.
I quit my job the day that album came out because I couldn't stop listening to it.
Fell as hell. I'm a rebel, so I rebel. Between bars, got me thinking like an animal.
You know, every teenager needs a soundtrack of rebellion to his authority figures. And for black America, for a short while, this was it. That's where we really transformed a lot of people our way. We presented something live on stage that they never ever saw before, and the energy was higher.
You want me to go first?
Yep. I'm about to go Strong Island, where we got a wildin'. Strong Island, where we got a crazy in. Strong Island, where we got you going in. Strong, strong, strong. So strong as a good thing. Strong Island, where I got a wildin'.
Strong Island, where we at, y'all? Strong Island, rockin' the house, y'all. Strong Island, come on now. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah. Go, 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 go.
Yo, Chuck D was scared to death. The way that he's telling people, he's probably getting #1. Because Public Enemies is all of us. We're all Public Enemy. He's number one. He's aware and he's telling people.
Yo, that's the pipe talking.
Come make it. Hey, no, hey, yo, that ain't the pipe talking, man. No word, man. I ain't seen the pipe in 20 minutes, man.
What they're saying and what they're trying to do is uplift the black youth. A lot of people don't agree with the way that they say it and how they voice their opinions, but I agree with them. Everybody here agrees with them, and what they're saying needs to be heard.
We're gonna do this the way it's supposed to be done, the way it's never been done before. We want everybody to pay attention. What you get ready to see is something you've never seen before. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be real dope. Pay attention. Watch.
On the road in the summer of 1988, the bill was Run DMC and Public Enemy and Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and LL Cool J.
Going on dust trips.
If you take a look at the bill now, you wonder what doesn't make sense, and you focus in on Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, maybe.
I can hear you, all the ugly people, be quiet!
We specifically made a choice to always be different. Me and Jeff designed our show about having fun. In the early days, I really just sort of followed Jeff. It was all about Jeff's cutting until I sort of got my bearings, and musically and artistically, we wanted to be an island.
The Fresh Prince. He got a gold album in 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Fastest breaking album in America, the best new pop star in America.
You know, parents are the same, no matter time, no place. They don't understand that us kids are going to make some mistakes. So to you other kids all across the land, there's no need to argue. Parents just don't understand.
The most important thing about rap is its honesty. Will Smith was a man of integrity. Made him the most special rapper in the world. I wanted to manage him immediately.
Will certainly never pretended to be anything other than what he was. And at the very least, what he wasn't was some kind of tough guy rapper.
I am the Fresh Prince, and I am as brainy as Galileo, wiser than Einstein, with the strength parallel to that of a landmine.
Will Smith was somebody who got 800 on his English SATs, and he was accepted at MIT. He was a super articulate guy, and not only could he talk, he could improvise. You know, you see him backstage in the summer of 1988, and he's just running his mouth and running the show.
Time is it on your Rolex? You're a rich guy. You don't care about public awareness. You got a Rolex. Hey, yo,
But like, I never seen a black person on Dynasty or something like that.
No niggas on Dynasty, man.
They make you believe that you're not supposed to have that and you're not due to that. And black kids are believing that.
You only 19. What you know?
Excuse me, Russell. I still have plenty of hair.
He's completely at his ease backstage with Russell Simmons and LL Cool J, and Russ goes to interview him, and Will just takes over.
Okay, why is Chuck D so important? Why is Public Enemy so important, Will? Please tell us.
Well, see, it's sort of thing with the youth.
Well.
I'm trying to answer the question the best I can answer. Now, you don't be coming over here trying to ask me a question, then not let me answer the way I want to answer. But man, get off the microphone, man.
Hey, yo. Let me tell you how it is.
I was in Jeff's crib one night about 8, and we were watching a couple of Mike Tyson fight tapes. Jeff was like, man, you see how hard Mike's punching? Come on, Jeff, the other guy was just lunging.
What makes him special now? He sold more records than all these niggas right now. He sold more than 50 Cent. He spoke to an aesthetic that no one was talking about.
He was ready-made for the era of music videos, and Parents Just Don't Understand was a hit on MTV. It was pretty avant-garde for MTV to endorse rap at that point, but it really, really paid off for them.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Yo MTV Raps. Yo MTV Raps is the beginning of hip-hop really blowing up. It was the first time, like, when something hot came out and it had a video, everybody would see it simultaneously.
Yo MTV Raps started in the summer of '88. We went to Austin, Texas, and we got Run DMC to be our hosts.
Yo, what's up? I'm DMC and a place to be.
We put Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, specifically Will, on camera for the very first time ever. And he kicked off the show with this little impromptu rap that he did. It was great.
Let's do this.
I'm DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Hey, yo, I'm the Prince.
And I'm Ready Roxy.
Hold up, bust this. We want to let everybody know where it's at. It's right here. Yo, MTV Raps.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to Yo MTV Rap Show.
They aired in August of '88, and I remember that Monday getting called into the office, and they were like, your show just had the highest rating we've ever had on MTV. And we were like, wow, what does that mean? They're like, well, we're going to do a show, and we want it on the air in 2 weeks. I was like, okay.
That's right, Public Enemy's in the house. Yo, MTV.
Raps, boy, my name is Flavor.
Literally like 2 or 3 weeks later, we had Yo MTV Raps on every Saturday for half an hour, and it just took off. It was amazing.
Who said that the ladies couldn't make it? You must be blind. If you don't believe, well, here, listen to this rhyme.
When Yo MTV hit the air, back Ted Demi, rest in peace, and Fab Five Freddy, Dr. Dre, and Ed Lover, the whole thing, it broke hip-hop out to the world.
You know, as a rap group coming up in the streets, we couldn't ask for more than to be
Shut
on
up,
tour
shut
with
up,
Run
shut up.
DMC.
1988 was the first year that the Grammys were going to recognize rap, and they were going to give an award for the best rap single. Parents Just Don't Understand was among them, but we discovered that the Grammys wouldn't broadcast the giving of that award as part of the television show of the Grammys.
It almost felt like a slight based on where the music was coming from rather than based on a fair decision-making process. So we all chose to boycott.
Let me tell you something. Everybody got talent, whether you country, whether you rock and roll, whether you rap, classical, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should get a chance, you know?
It felt like the end of the world. Like we had come all this way and we were throwing it all away with the boycott, that there's no way the genre would ever survive if we, you know, spit in the face of the Grammys.
The Grammys should give more of a fuck about the people, and then eventually the people will give more of a fuck about the Grammys. That's why right now, we don't give a fuck about a goddamn Grammy.
Ted Demi and I decided that it would be a good idea to set up a boycott the Grammy party.
We said sneakers, mandatory. If you had anything else but sneakers on, you can't get in. If you have a suit on, you can't get in, and that's that. Everyone in the world showed up.
Rap's just the people's thing now, man, and it's just it'll take its time. That's all. Everybody's listening to it. Everybody's digging it.
It was phenomenal. Tone Loc was DJing, like Kool Moe Dee, LL Cool J, Public Enemy, Salt and Pepper. Suddenly, Malcolm Forbes shows up.
I want to ask Malcolm, how you feel about rap music?
I feel good about it.
Oh, that's a drink.
We had our cake and ate it too, because we took a moral stand and boycotted the Grammys, and yet Will and Jeff were awarded the Grammy.
It was great to win, but it still felt like a quiet win, you know, whereas we wanted to win really loudly.
There were artists that understood where it was going, and they understood where they wanted to go, you know, and Will Smith was probably one of them.
But by the end of the decade, rappers were starting to show up on television and sitcoms of their own.
Spider-Man. Web of Spider-Man. I whack off to this. Probably can't use that on MTV though, can you?
Now you got people like Will Smith making 20 million, Queen Latifah getting nominated for Oscars. I think we all knew we could do it, but we all knew that we were all helping each other out.
That's right. God is letting this happen, and it's not, hey, we can't let nothing stop us. Cannot stop the bum rush, Holmes.
The presence of hip-hop in the culture was really becoming firmly embedded in a way that was unthinkable 10 years earlier.
I think that they needed the rap. And the tap and the bap, too. You all needed it! You should have brought it on! Woo!
The freaks come out. The freaks come out at night. Now the party's jumping, the place is packed, and when the crowd's like this, I'm ready to rap. But before I can buzz around on the mic, freaks are all over me like white on rice. Freaks come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, but what I like about them most is that they're real good lovers. They do it in the park, they do it in the dark, but most freaks are known for breaking hearts. The freaks come out. The freaks come out. The freaks come